G'day everyone and welcome to Chris Rankin's Music Crush. Just a listening video today, what I've been listening to and new releases. A little bit of something from the Doom Metalhead. I've got some Boise, Idaho metal. I've got some Minneapolis, Minnesota metal. A little bit of power metal to talk about. Some fishy Jefferson Airplane. And a perfect death metal album, one of my favourite albums all time. Some Saints and some Guardians as well. So we'll get into it. First of all, as always, the new releases that I've loved this week that came out on Friday. The new Slithering Decay album is fantastic. Death metal album, brilliant. Majestic Downfall, death doom metal album will be one of the best of the year. So the Death Doom people, Liam, Ron Haggerty, you will love Majestic Downfall. Aorta is the name of the album, so good. Mothman and the Thunderbirds, Stoner Doom band, brilliant album. I can't remember the name of the album, but I'll put all the band with the album titles in the description below, along with the whole list of all my favourite albums of this week. A little bit shorter, but some really good quality, and that Majestic Downfall definitely one of the best of the year for sure. Yeah, so look, we'll get on to it. Just things that I've been listening to this week. One of them is a new edition, and I'm going to start off with that straight away. I'm sure you all know Liam, the Doom Metalhead, absolutely fantastic channel, brilliant channel. And he's in a band, a death doom metal band called Consecration. And I bought a album from his band, and it arrived late just last week, just gone. And here it is there. This is their second album overall, came out in 2019, called Fragilium. Haven't really had much of a chance to listen to it yet, so I won't comment on tracks and so forth. I have listened to quite a bit of their stuff online on the Bandcamp page. So I'll put a link to the band Consecration in the description, plus a link to Liam's channel below. I have, as I say, I've listened to a fair bit of their stuff through the Bandcamp page, and I love it, absolutely love it, but I haven't actually listened to this as a CD itself. Only 5 tracks, and it goes for just under an hour, so it's it's fairly spread out and very doomy in its pace. So I'm looking forward to this to really sort of give it a good proper spin and a listen and sort of indulge in it and let it soak up. I always think that one of the best ways to listen to an album, regardless of any album, is listen to it in its entirety. A lot of songs take on a bit of a different feel, I think, when you listen to an album in its entirety. Some things you can listen to as singles, but even then I think sometimes the singles find their place better when you listen to the whole album. So yeah, brilliant. So happy to get this. I got all sorts of little things in the bag when I opened up as well from them. So I got a patch as well. Now, I don't have a battle vest or whatever because I simply just don't wear jumpers or jackets. I don't feel the cold. One, I'm in Perth, Western Australia, and we do have our coldish mornings, but I don't feel the cold. I can't remember the last time. In fact, I do know the last time I wore a jumper, a jacket, or anything such was December 2003 in northwest China. And that was the last time I wore a jumper or a jacket. So that's the reason I don't have a battle vest. But very good to get the patch. I got a pin button as well from them. I got a little card as well with all bits and pieces what to look for, and a guitar pick, and a little note from Daniel. Kindest regards, thanks for the support, Chris. Consecration. So I know Liam doesn't really want to put his name up in lights so much, but I will. There he is there. Lead, rhythm, and acoustic guitars. So yeah, brilliant stuff. I'm going to really listen to that properly. Fantastic death doom metal. Brilliant. So happy to get that this week. Really happy. I've ordered a lot of things recently, and some things are starting to flow in. Some things, I don't know, some things have taken 2 or 3 months to get. Even things on like Discogs and stuff like that have taken 2 or 3 months at least. And then brand new things, you know, there's things like I've shown you that I ordered back in January, February. Some of them I've only just got recently. So, but that's okay. It's all good. I still listen to all the new stuff, and I can listen to it first and then I make sure I get it. Next, I hinted at a perfect death metal album, and this is right up there as one of my favourite metal albums of all time. I think it's a perfect death metal album. I love this band so much. Never got to see them live. They never came to Perth. They were planning a tour back in 2015 that was only doing the east coast of Australia. I was kind of half thinking about going to fly over to see it. I very rarely do I've never actually flown to the east coast of Australia just purely for a concert. I've been up to Indonesia for gigs, but I've never flown east. I just try to limit myself to, as best I can, only going to gigs in Perth. Otherwise you just already spend enough on music and merch and everything else, and if you start doing that all the time, where do you draw the line? So, and you know, I've seen well over 630 bands live. If you notice, that count is staying, not moving much because of what's been happening in the last year and a half. But yeah, but back to Bolt Thrower. So I have never seen this band live, and then they were planning that Australian tour, and unfortunately their drummer Martin Kearns passed away just before they started that tour, so that stopped them in the tour. They went on hiatus. That was in 2015, and then of course the year anniversary of his death, that's when they said, no, that's it, we're going to call it a day. And yeah, I hinted who I'm talking about is the mighty Bolt Thrower. I've shown it through a few of their albums before. Don't have every single thing. I'm missing about 1 or 2. That's about it. I absolutely adore this album. I'm quite happy to say that this would probably be the most catchiest death metal album of all time. The hooks and the riffs in this album are magnificent. This is one of those albums that I put on and I just smile all the way through, like a grinning kid going into your favourite toy store when you were 7. Just even now I'm giggling because it just always makes me happy to listen to this album. I love it so much. This is a 2011 reissue. I already had this on CD when it came out in 2005, and when this, I'm pretty sure it's Metal Blade, isn't it? Yeah, Metal Blade did this reissue in 2011. I got it straight away. If you don't know Bolt Thrower, English band, death metal band, always a fair bit of groove and catchiness in their songs. And even though Carl Willett's, his voice is pretty deep and guttural, you can still make out basically what he's saying. And they are heavy, there's no doubt about it, but because of their catchiness and a little bit of the groove, one of the more accessible death metal bands. If someone has never heard death metal before and would like to have a bit of a go, without it being melodic death metal or the sort of fringe death metal bands, if you want to hear straight up great death metal, start with this album here. Those Once Loyal. This ended up being the last album they ever made. They were almost going to make a follow-up to this album, but they never quite were happy with the content, and it just went on and on and on, and then of course, yeah, the drummer passed away, so they decided to call it a day. This is their 8th and final album. A lot of their material is based on war and battles and so forth, and real battles. They're quite sort of historical in the way they talk about war and so forth. But also, a lot of their covers are based on the tabletop role-play game of Warhammer. And the artwork for a lot of the Bolt Thrower albums is actually done by Games Workshop, the creator of Warhammer, the Warhammer game. So, yeah, for nerds like me that love all that sort of stuff and metal, Bolt Thrower are perfect. And this is a perfect album. Absolutely perfect from start to finish. I love everything about this. Show the gatefold. I have to be careful because the record, I'll take the record out in a minute. Gatefold, fantastic. And you get a big poster. I won't take it out. It's huge. It's not one that just folds out a little bit. It really just folds out quite big and huge. I won't take it out because it's a bit strange to try and get it all back in. Take out the record. Look at that. So good. Absolutely brilliant. It's the custom label. That's called the Chaos Eye, or the Chaotic Eye. Of course, metal blade, so you get the great inner, a nice lined inner, so it's easy to get in and out. But yeah, I can show that probably a bit easier now that I've taken the record out. I'm always a bit scared about it dropping out. The poster's still there, but there we go, there's the gatefold. So it's got all the lyrics. That fantastic emblem in the middle. Just Bolt Thrower. Even the name of the band, Bolt Thrower, is named after a weapon that you use in the Warhammer tabletop game. So Warhammer, you know, like Dungeons and Dragons, like Battletech. Battletech, when I was a kid in the 80s, the mid-80s, 84, 85, 86, I spent a lot of time listening to heavy metal and playing Battletech. I love Battletech, the big role-playing game with all the big mechs and all. I used to enter into competitions at the University of Western Australia, and you could win like good prize money and things like that. And yeah, so Battletech I was a big fan of. So yeah, heavy metal, video games, Star Wars, Battletech, and American football. That was my childhood. So yeah, so there you go. Long story about a great album, but it makes me very happy, this album, so I like to talk about it a lot. Best songs on here are The Kill Chain, Anti-Tank, two of the best death metal songs ever made, all time, no doubt about it. Granite Wall is awesome, and At First Light, the ominous, eerie sort of start to At First Light literally makes you feel like it's at first light and the start of the battle is about to begin. So a perfect album in every way. Bolt Thrower. Next up, I've been on a real Armoured Saint kick lately. I just do. I'm a massive fan of John Bush. I've said a few times my favourite Anthrax albums are the John Bush albums, especially Stomp 442. Love that album. I love his voice. It's got a bit of character and grit, but he can sing. He can really sing. And I've been listening to this. I never see anyone show this Armoured Saint album. I absolutely love this album. I don't think there's any bad Armoured Saint album at all, actually. Even Revelation that I see put down the bottom of the list, it's still good. This album is really good. I don't know, maybe it's the sort of blandish, bleached artwork, I guess, a little bit, that might, but La Raza, this is their 2010, gee, that's so small. I think it's I can't read it, but I'm pretty sure it's 2010, their 6th album. Blackfeet is one of my favourite Armoured Saint songs of all time. Absolutely love it. The title track is brilliant. Head On, excellent song. Left Hook from Right Field, excellent song. Just a brilliant album. Blackfeet is heavy but bluesy sort of and catchy. Just so good. I love this album very much. I'll take it out because it's a digipack, but it's not bad actually, the packaging for this one. It's not bad. So it's got the sleeve, and then you take out, and it's quite slim. The digipacks I don't like are the ones that come out like really fat. sometimes, so then they don't sit in the rack very well and they get dog-eared and things like that. And then, of course, there's the Armoured Saint logo. You can't quite see it there, but when you shine it, you can see it. You got to see it very, very, very clearly on the latest album, Punching the Sky, the way it was done on the album artwork there. So yeah, Armoured Saint, very underrated in their catalogue. A great, great album. I love it to bits. Love Armoured Saint. I think they are, I don't know, could you call them underrated? I think you can, really. I think you can. I think they're known, but there'd be a lot of metalheads that couldn't name more than one song from their catalogue, and even then, there'd be probably a lot of metalheads that would know Armoured Saint and they would know John Bush, I guess, but they'd probably maybe not be able to name an album or even a song from them. That's fine. I'm not being elitist at all. We can't expect to know everything and all, but I just think they're a band that should have, could have, wish they were a lot bigger, I reckon. I think they're fantastic. I love their style. I love the mix of a little bit of new wave of British heavy metal, a little bit of straight up heavy metal, and a lot of their albums have a little bit of groove and a little bit of bluesy hook to it as well. A little bit sort of, there's a little, I'm going to say it, there's a little bit of Whitesnake in their music, just a little bit. And first of all, you might go, come on, no. But just a little bit, just a bit of the bluesy hooks that Coverdale always puts in Whitesnake music. You can hear that in what Joey Vera puts in the music in Armoured Saint. It has that different, that bluesy, hooky feel that separates them from just all the other sort of straight up heavy metal sound. And I know they're not British, but that a lot of their earlier stuff had a bit of a new wave of British heavy metal sound. So a great band. Now, I talked about some metal from Boise, Idaho. So Aaron Mutha Alamere. I know you're from Pocatello, but I thought you'd be interested to see this. Great band. This album finished very high on my list for the year that it came out, which was 2018. Within a World Forgotten is the name of the album. Brilliant stuff. Very heavy. I hear people call this war metal, and I agree with some people. War metal's a bit of a strange genre term. I don't really know what that means. But what it basically is a mix between death metal, black metal, and grind. A little bit of grind as well. And when you mix those two together, sometimes you'll see people call it war metal. Heavy, very heavy, brutal stuff. A lot of atmosphere too, quite dissonant too in its sound. A little bit, it's sort of about like dark nature and things like that, decay. So good. So good. Just digipack like that. I bought this when it came out. Just been spinning it again, but I thought, yeah, I pulled it out because I wanted to show Aaron Mutha Alamere some Idaho metal from Boise, the capital. Yeah, really good stuff. Excellent album, excellent band. This is their debut, so hopefully, a lot of bands get into that 3-year cycle of an album, so hopefully soon we'll get a follow-up. It's good to know then, whether this was just a one-off wonder where they blew it out and that was it, or if they're going to be a band that's going to continue and make good stuff continuing on. But great death metal, black metal with a bit of grind mixed in. Great album, love it to bits. Also talked about some metal from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So what about Obseque, I think. On face value, they're an atmospheric, melodic black metal band. But before that puts people off who don't like black metal, they are very different from that. They have a lot of medieval classical music and a lot of medieval folk music in their sound. and this might sound bizarre to say because they're black metal, but this album and the one after, the one before was a little bit more, I don't want to say normal black metal, but you know what I mean, a bit, I think it is anyway. I know Sean at Mostly Metal is a big fan of this band, but that first album of theirs was probably a little bit more straightforward, atmospheric, melodic black metal. This one and the one that came out, I can't remember now, but the most recent album. So this one is 2015, I think the most recent one, and I can't remember the name of it now. It's also got like a castle on the front as well. That was 2019. These last two really brought out the medieval classical music and folk part of it as well. And I have to say, this album and the most recent one are two of the most, this is what I was trying to get around to saying, are two of the most beautiful black metal albums ever made. And I know that sounds weird, but they're really beautiful. The sound is quite lush and decadent, and amazing soundscapes that really take you away to another world and a different place and a different time. And love this band. They've done no wrong so far. 3 great albums, and the way they're going with their music, they seem to be really... the sky's the limit, I think, with this band. It's be quite exciting to see where they go from here and continuing on. But this is called Area of Vernal Tombs. Brilliant. Just so good. You can get a bit of an idea what they're about. You can see the artwork there. The artwork on the inside there as well. Love this band. If you've never heard them, please check them out. This finished very high on my top 100 of 2015 as well. A great band from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I talked about Saints. I talked about Guardians, power metal. What about Blind Guardian, Beyond the Red Mirror from 2015 also. I've got 2 albums from 2015 in here today. I love this album. I love Blind Guardian and pretty much everything they've done. I think they're one of the best power metal bands in the world, without a doubt. I absolutely love this album. And I love all the stuff on here, but my 3 favourite songs on here are 3 of my favourite power metal songs of all time. The Ninth Wave, that chorus is as catchy as hell. The big operatic gang vocals that come through. Twilight of the Gods is one of my favourite power metal songs of all time. That chorus is so catchy, so hooky, brilliant. And then the closer on the album, Grand Parade, I absolutely love as well. All the songs on here are good. And I bought this when it came out, and I'm so glad I got this, because you can get obviously just the straight up jewel case, but I bought this and it really wasn't that much more. I noticed the CD was about to come out there. That's not good. Just let me put that back in there, because I want to show you. So as you can see there, it's actually like a book. I love this. If you're going to do a digipack and they want you to spend a bit much, a couple of dollars more on the expanded edition, make it worth the while like this, because it's an actual proper book. And what I love about this is, let me get through. It's got pages. The artwork is just fantastic. So good. See every page. And it's actually a full story. Now, normally Blind Guardian is all about Tolkien stories. I don't think this one is about Tolkien at all. I think this is an original story that they put to an album, that the Blind Guardian sort of wrote the story, because there's all characters all through here. See, you got the just amazing artwork. As you can see, the book's really long. It's lots of pages, lots of fantastic artwork, all different character development they set up. It's like they've made a story just for the album. And if I'm wrong, please someone let me know, but I'm pretty sure this is not actually to do with Tolkien, even though most Blind Guardian albums are. Not most, but a large majority. So getting the book was really good. And see, look, when you get to back here, it's got all the characters. It shows all the cast and the characters. And yeah, so I think that's a picture of the band. Hansi Kirch, his vocals on here, I think, are some of the best that he's ever done. I just love it. Love this album. It's power metal, perfectly done, heavy enough. The riffs are good and crunchy and heavy enough, but the hooks and the catchiness of this album just brings me back to it over and over again. So good. That's their 10th album overall. And I talked about some fishy Jefferson Airplane. So what about some Bark? Very underrated album, getting towards the end of the Jefferson Airplane era. This is their, I'll take it out of the thing so you can see it. Their 6th album, 1971. Quite mellow, but there's still some great songs on here. Wild Turkey is probably my favourite song on here overall. War Movie, I love. Rock and Roll Island, I love. Feel So Good is a good one. And Pretty As You Feel, I think, was their single that came off here. I haven't looked, I've never actually bothered to look what release this is. It is on the Grunt label, but I've never actually bothered to look to see what pressing it is. So I've got some homework to do. I've had this for quite a while, probably about 10 years, I think. I can't remember where I got it, but yeah, on Grunt, of course. I think this was their first. I think this was the first record that they put out on Grunt, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's when Grunt started, right? Was with this record. I might be wrong. But yeah, good album. Bizarre artwork. I really don't know what Bark has to do with the fish and the thing. I know, I'm pretty sure some early copies of this, so maybe this is a later one because it's like this, but I'm pretty sure some early copies of this actually were in like proper cardboard, right? I might be mistaken. I was born in 1974 and this came out in 1971. So, but yeah, really good. Essential part of the Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship story. One day there's another video I might maybe want to do all together. Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship, and Starship. I know Ron Haggerty did a great collection video on. I think he did Jefferson Airplane and Jefferson Starship, and I think he showed one Starship album as well, Knee Deep on the Hoopla, I think he showed as well. So yeah, so look, that's what I've been watching, everyone. Please check out Ron Haggerty's channel, Vinyl Sanctuary. I think he's changed it now from Ron Haggerty's Vinyl Sanctuary to just Vinyl Sanctuary. A great channel. And check out Sean at Mostly Metal, another awesome channel. And I'll put a link in the description below to all these things that I've mentioned for you to check out. Plus with all the new releases that came out on Friday. So thanks for watching. Yesterday I had a day off like today, so I made sure I went through and watched a lot of people's channels and commented and caught up on a lot of things. It's important to me to stay connected to you all. And yeah, so thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you soon.